The courtroom fell silent the moment Richard Hale stood up. His jaw was tight, his voice cold. "Your Honor," he said, "I want this marriage ended today. I want nothing from her, and I want her to have nothing from me." Across the room, Ava, his black wife, sat still. Her hands trembled in her lap, but her face stayed calm. She had cried all night, but not now, not in front of him. The sound of papers shuffling echoed through the courtroom like thunder in a church. Judge Margaret Lewis, a seasoned black woman in her 50s, looked up from the file. "Mr. Hale," she said slowly, "are you sure you understand what you're saying?" Richard didn't blink. "Perfectly. This marriage was a mistake." Gasps murmured from the benches. Even the court reporter paused for a beat. Ava's lawyer leaned toward her, whispering, "We can stop this. Ava, you don't have to let him." She shook her head softly. "It's okay," she whispered back. "Let him finish." For a moment, the judge studied Ava. There was something dignified about her stillness, something that made Richard's anger look childish. Margaret set her pen down. "Mrs. Hale, do you have anything to say before I proceed?" Ava stood slowly. Her dress was simple, navy blue. Her voice was steady, almost too calm. "I just want this to be over, Your Honor," she said. "But I'd like to tell the truth before we sign anything." The judge nodded. "You may." Ava looked at Richard, her husband of 7 years. "You said this marriage was a mistake," she began. "But it wasn't always that way, was it?" Richard crossed his arms. "People change." "No," she said softly. "You changed the moment you started caring what other people thought." The judge's brow furrowed slightly. Ava continued, her words quiet but sharp. "When you married me, you said you didn't care what your family thought, that my skin didn't matter. But when your business partner started whispering, when your mother stopped visiting, you stopped looking at me the same way." Richard looked away, jaw clenching. Ava's voice cracked for the first time. "You didn't even show up when I lost our baby. Richard, you sent flowers through your assistant." Someone in the gallery exhaled sharply. The air grew thick. Judge Lewis tapped her pen once, thinking. "Mr. Hale," she said, "is that true?" He straightened. "My schedule was. Your wife miscarried." The judge interrupted. "And you were too busy." Richard's face flushed red. "You don't understand." "No," Ava said softly. "You don't." She looked at him again, but this time there was no anger, just sadness. "I didn't come here to fight you, Richard. I came to thank you." His eyes narrowed. "Thank me," she nodded, "for freeing me. Because loving you taught me something painful, but necessary. That no matter how hard a woman tries, she can't make a man see her worth if he's already decided she's beneath him." The courtroom was silent again, the kind of silence that humbles everyone in it. Judge Lewis sat back, eyes flicking between them. Something in Ava's words hit her deeply. Richard cleared his throat. "Are we done here?" But before the judge could respond, a young man in uniform, a bailiff, hurried in and handed Judge Lewis a folder. "Ma'am, you asked for these documents earlier." The judge opened it, scanning quickly. Then she froze. When she looked up at Richard, her expression had changed completely. "Mr. Hale," she said carefully, "you listed your company, Hale and Partners, as financially independent from your spouse, correct?" "Yes," he replied confidently. "Ava had nothing to do with it." The judge turned the page. "That's interesting." She raised an eyebrow. "Because according to the paperwork filed with the Secretary of State, your company's seed funding came from your wife's inheritance." Richard blinked. That's not relevant." "Oh, it's very relevant," the judge said sharply. "Your business exists because of her." A murmur spread through the courtroom. Richard's lawyer shifted nervously. Ava's eyes dropped to the floor. "It doesn't matter," she said softly. "He can keep it." But Judge Lewis shook her head. "No, Mrs. Hale. It matters that he lied to this court." Richard's face tightened. "I didn't." The judge raised her hand. "You were willing to strip your wife of everything, knowing full well she built half of what you own. That's not arrogance, Mr. Hale. That's cruelty." Richard sank back into his chair. For the first time, he looked small. The judge continued, her voice firm. "But even, Mrs. Hale, I'm granting your divorce, but I'm also ordering that 50% of Hale and Partners be transferred to your name, effective immediately. You will retain your home and all shared assets." Richard's eyes widened. "What? You can't." Judge Lewis cut him off. "You may take it up on appeal, but I warn you, you'll lose, because every document here shows the same truth. Your wife invested in you when no one else would." Ava didn't smile. She didn't gloat. She just whispered, "Thank you, Your Honor." When the gavel came down, the sound echoed like thunder. People began whispering as the bailiff called for order. Richard stood frozen, his eyes on Ava. She gathered her purse, her posture graceful, and walked toward the exit. "Wait," he said suddenly. She turned. "I didn't mean for it to end like this," he muttered, eyes down. "I just thought I thought I'd feel free. Ava's voice was gentle. Freedom doesn't come from hurting people who love you, Richard. It comes from facing who you really are. She walked out without looking back. Outside, sunlight poured through the courthouse steps. Ava closed her eyes and took a deep breath. For the first time in years, the air didn't feel heavy. Judge Lewis walked out moments later, briefcase in hand. She paused beside her. You handled yourself with grace, the judge said softly. Women like you remind people what real strength looks like. Ava smiled faintly. Thank you, Your Honor. I just wanted to be heard. The judge nodded. You were across the street. Richard watched through the courthouse window. For a long moment, he said nothing. Then, quietly, he whispered to himself, I never deserved her. We often realize someone's worth only after they've walked away. Respect isn't about power, money, or color. It's about seeing another human being as equal. Hate divides, but humility heals.